Greetings. The purpose of this screencast is to give you a quick tour of Google Drive. The first stop for any Google user is the Google Drive. We can get to our Google Drive in a few different ways. We can find it on our AUSD drop-down folder, or we can go over to the waffle and land on our Drive icon. When we land on Google Drive, we will see all our Google files. Google Drive is a digital filing cabinet system. The first thing we should always do is to make sure that we are in our AUSD account. Next to our personal icon, we see our access to the waffle or the Google Apps. Next to that, we have a settings gear. We should leave that alone for right now. The question mark is actually access to the land of Google support, and they are actually great. It'll open up a separate window and you can search and troubleshoot. The last is an offline option, which we're going to skip for right now. The next thing I want to point out is that we have a search in Drive, and that is different than searching the internet. The search in Drive does not go out over the internet. It just searches in your Google Drive. So if you've lost a file, this is where you go to start looking for it. Moving back over here, we have the little I. This is the tracker of all activity in your drive and in individual files. And I'm going to click on it because if we click on activity, you'll be able to see all of the things I've done in my drive, and they'll be time stamped. This is a helpful button when students say that they did something but can't find it. You can help them look and sort of backtrack to find that file. Next to that I, and I'll close it out, is this little 3x2 grid. Changing that button changes our view. So right now I'm in list view, and you can see the list of all my files and folders. But if I click on it, I will get what's known as grid view, and it changes a little bit different. And when I come down to my files, we'll see it even more. It looks more picture-based. List view is more name-based. When I actually land on any one of my files, you'll notice that a few more options appeared right up here. The first is the 3 dots, the peas in a pod, the snowman, and that always means more in the land of Google. The trash can is how we would remove something. The head with a plus on it is how we would quickly share with another user, and that link is how to get a shareable link. I know I listed those off super fast. We're going to dive deeper into each one of those a little bit later. Let's keep going on our tour of our MyDrives. This middle area is our actual filing cabinet. It takes up the most space. We can scroll down and see all of my folders, and at the bottom, all of those loose files that are folderless. There's a lot of them. There they go. And up at the top, we have what's known as quick access. And it's always in that tile view, meaning that box image view. And these are the last few files that I was in. Google assumes that if you recently worked on something, you'll want to work on it again soon. So it sort of pins your last 4 files to the top. Over here on the side, this is the list of what can be seen in that big middle area. It defaults to showing the My Drive, our user stuff. But we can, by clicking over here, change what we see in this middle area. And I'm actually going to start at the bottom. So if we click on the trash, we can see the files that we have removed. And Google doesn't really delete things, or at least it takes them a really long time. So officially, it says it deletes things after about 30 days. But if you look, I have some stuff in my trash from over 6 years ago. So if you or a student accidentally trashes a file and it's needed later, the first place to look is actually in the trash. The second place I'm going to click on is what's called the starred folder. As we work on a file, we can star it. We might star frequently used files or the project of the week or that folder that we keep going back to. By putting a star on it, we don't have to remember where we filed it in our digital filing system. We just come right here to starred and it will be there. For me, I use the starred for digital things that I would have put in a plastic page protector if it was printed out. It's those precious files or those frequently used ones. These are the files that I access a lot. Recent is our next option. It lists all of your files and the order that you were last in that file. So this is a huge list of everything. It's just organized by last visited. So if you can't remember what you named a file, but you know you worked on it at breakfast yesterday, you can click recent and start your search there. This next one with the heads is one I want to draw your attention to. This is the Shared with Me folder. One of the most powerful aspects of Google is the ability to digitally share files with other people and collaborate. Many users can be typing on the same file at the same time from different devices in different rooms. So when one user shares a file with you, you will actually receive it in your Shared with Me. So we can see all of these shared by, these are all the other people that have shared files with me that I'm allowed to collaborate with. Okay, the shared drive is a little bit different than a shared with me. Oftentimes individuals share files and folders, but departments might create a shared drive. And we'll dive into the different levels of sharing a little bit later. The last thing over here I'm going to point out to you is what's called the priority check. So this is actually a new Google feature, and it's another way of grouping items that aren't otherwise grouped together. So it's a way of labeling different files that might be in different folders, but giving them maybe like a binder name so that they're in different files, but I want to look at them together for this project. And that's going to be when we label them as priority. So far, we've talked about the search and drive and some of our quick clicks up here. Our main landing page will always be our own MyDrives.